It's not about falling down. It's about how fast you can get up after you have fallen down. That's where the magic is.
Discover what it takes to be a world-class entrepreneur.
No success story ever happened without any struggle at the beginning.
And how you can have it all from the greatest minds in business.
Why do you think people give up when business gets tough?
Welcome to the Woman Entrepreneur Podcast. Here is your host, international award-winning entrepreneur and founder of Woman Entrepreneur, Erna Basson.
Hi, good morning everyone, and welcome to the Women Entrepreneur Show. And today we have a very special guest. We have Greg Nowacki all the way from the US. Actually, you said Slovenia or something? Oh no, Polish. You are Polish, right?
I'm Polish, yeah.
There we go. Welcome to the show, Greg.
Well, thank you so much, Erna. It's a pleasure to be on here.
Yeah, it's lovely to have you. I know we are literally on other ends of the world. I'm in New Zealand, you're in the US. I think that's the beauty of today's technology, is that you can literally be anywhere, anytime, at any place in the world with technology these days, right?
No, it's true. And there's no limits. And I still need to go to New Zealand myself. I went to Australia, I think it was like 5 years ago. So I still need to make it to New Zealand. But technically you're calling me from the future because you guys are like 18 hours ahead. So it's already tomorrow.
Yeah. No, and you know what? I always joke with people. Like, I'm so obsessed with being first that I had to move to the country that wakes up first. So that's my little joke. It's like quarter to 9 Thursday morning, and you guys are still on Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, 1:40 here.
Oh my goodness, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. But anyway, Greg, we are so lucky to have you on the show today. Ladies, Greg is a specialist on how to drive traffic and customers to your website or to your landing page or to an event you're hosting. And I know that's one of the biggest problems is how do you get tractions online? And it's so cluttered these days. Greg, am I right?
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, like, you definitely got to stand out amongst all the traffic, and it's only going to get worse.
Exactly. So Greg, in a quick 30-second brief, who are you? What do you do? What's your company, and how can you help people?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Greg Nowacki, and I am a customer acquisition specialist. My agency is called Captive Branding, and we work with a lot of entrepreneurs and businesses to help them get as many leads and customers into their business locally as well as online.
Yeah. Because that's the post I saw. Just a bit of background, ladies. I saw a post on Facebook, and you guys spent like $18 and you got like 7,000 leads for one campaign. That is insane.
Yeah, that was by far one of the craziest campaigns that I've run in a while, but yeah, it just kind of took off.
Yeah, because I feel that a lot of people, and I'm actually including myself here, a lot of people are scared to spend money on Facebook because they don't get the return. It's like, I've heard people saying they've spent thousands on Facebook ads and had no return. Yeah,
and that's honestly some of the times why I end up working with people, because they've spent a lot of money on it and they're like, well, I'm not getting any results. And sometimes really it just comes down to testing and also knowing what works and what doesn't, because you can make one small change and that could completely, have a different outcome than if you were to keep doing the same thing. So that's something that's always important. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you run campaigns where you really don't have to spend that much money and you get crazy results, and then other times like you do spend more money, but as long as your ROI is there, it's still worth it to continue to invest into it.
Yeah. And Greg, how did you start your journey being a specialist in this field and helping people do this?
Yeah, so I actually went to college and majored in advertising and business, and then when I graduated college, I tried to go work at an advertising agency, and living here in California, as a lot of people know around the world, cost of living here is fairly expensive. And so
Yeah.
they tried to pitch me at a very small amount and also like at a very entry level position. I was like, yeah, I'm good. So I ended up doing pharmaceutical sales for a couple of years, but I kept learning and like investing in myself with buying courses and just learning this stuff on my own. And then at some point I just decided to quit my job, and then I just created my own agency. So I went from trying to ask somebody to work for their agency to I just decided, well, I'm just going to create my own. And so that's what I've been doing now is I just created my own agency, started working with clients, and 99% of my clients are all across the country. So most of them I've never even met in person. So kind of going back to the whole online world, I don't even meet most of my clients in person, but we still get them amazing results.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And how would you say has Facebook ads developed from the first time it came out to what it is today?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I wasn't even doing Facebook ads when like it first hit the platform. I mean, I was probably somebody that also signed up for Facebook like I want to say like two years after it came out. Like I was still a part of MySpace. So
still like, Facebook won't last.
yeah, so like I was still MySpace. I was like diehard MySpace, and then somebody was like, "Oh, have you heard about the Facebook?" Because that's when they were calling it the Facebook, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" And I ended up signing up for it, and like I was just a typical consumer though, whereas like I was just consuming that stuff. But now I've been doing Facebook ads now for a couple of years, and the platform has just continually changed and evolved. Like it's kind of crazy like how much information Facebook has on us. Like for some people, it freaks them out. They're like, Facebook knows so much about me. And I'm like, yeah, they do. And then for me as a marketer, I'm like, Facebook knows a lot about you. Like, this is awesome because I can hyper target people and really dial down like who is like your ideal customer and like where are they at? Like, let's go find them. And then we just attract them into your funnel, or we get their information, and then like you're providing value to them. Yeah.
Because I think that, like you say, a lot of people are afraid of Facebook because Facebook knows everything, your buying behavior.
Yep.
And literally, if you go onto someone's profile, you can immediately see if they're having a bad day, if they're having a great day, what their relationship is like, what they where they're having vacation. It's insane.
Yeah.
And I think Instagram is even worse.
Yeah, I mean, like both the platforms are interesting to me because Facebook, they own Instagram, but like the way that people interact on Facebook and Instagram is totally different. And that's also something that's like really important for people when they're running ad campaigns, is that you want to treat each platform in their own unique way, because I see a lot of people where it's like they cross post what's on Instagram to Facebook. And it's almost, and to me, it's like you're almost disrespecting the platform, because how somebody sits and scrolls through Instagram is completely different than how they're interacting on Facebook. So you always want to keep that in mind.
So what would you say is the difference between Instagram? So let's say, for instance, a company is starting to, has a Facebook profile and has an Instagram profile.
Yeah.
How would they post content differently than they would post on Facebook and Instagram?
Yeah. Okay. So best way I can liken Facebook is like a digital newspaper. So you have a lot of different things that are on there. You're seeing stories, videos, images, blog posts. A lot of different stuff is on Facebook, versus Instagram is highly visual. Like everything is photos and videos, especially with Instagram stories. So with that, you need to have different types of creative that stand out on the different platforms. Like on Instagram, people are looking at the image, and then the text below is just kind of like an addition to like the overall image that you're looking at. Versus Facebook, the image matters, but you can also have a lot more text, and the way that you structure it on Facebook is totally different than how you would structure it on Instagram. And that's why it's really important to be able to differentiate, like, how should this appear on Facebook versus Instagram, because sometimes the way that the ad looks on Facebook does not look the same way as on Instagram. And so if you try to do the same thing, you're going to have issues where like it just doesn't look right, and then that can lower your conversion.
Yeah, of course. And what is the number one mistake you see entrepreneurs make with their marketing, with their social media marketing ads or budgets?
Yeah. Okay. So number one thing, especially right now, is people are still trying to go directly for the sale. So what you want to do is you actually want to provide value first and then put people through essentially like an online funnel within Facebook itself. And then you sell them later on. I liken this to, I don't know if this is something that you have in New Zealand, but here in California, there's a lot of people that stand on corners and they flip signs like with directions of like, hey, go here, like buy our 50% off mattress and things like that. Yeah. And it's the same thing that's happening online. It's like you're disrespecting the buyer where somebody's scrolling through Facebook and people don't go on to Facebook and Instagram with their credit card in hand saying like, oh, I'm going to go onto Facebook to buy something. They're on Facebook because they're looking to interact with their friends and people that they're participating in groups. And so you need to come at them with an approach of like, how can I provide value to you first? And then if you're interested in what value I just provided to you, now we can start to take you down the sequence of like, how do we get you closer to buying something? Because the beauty of this is that it lowers your cost, but it's going to increase your conversion because you're actually putting people through a funnel within Facebook itself.
Yeah. And I know that it doesn't count for a product versus a service, because what I've seen a lot is especially people that has events or they do a service like a business coach or someone become an Instagram influencer. Here's my ebook. So they do that. I think they grab the lead first, like the email address. They give them to you, and then that goes into a funnel where they just constantly like value, sell.
Yeah.
Right. But what about a product? Let's say someone is selling like a wallet or a phone case, or I'm just like literally seeing things lying on my table, or computer screens or whatever. How is that different to a service?
Yeah, so good point. So when it comes to like products and services and things like that, there are still ways of like being able to showcase things prior to somebody actually purchasing. Yeah. So you could run like video ads where it's like showing like the product in motion, or it's like somebody interacting with it. And you can still include a link to that if you want to, but you're going to get less people opting in. There are certain things where it's like an impulse buy. And this is especially true when it comes to like viral products. Like we've all seen the videos that are going viral where it's like millions and millions of views. Yeah. You're gonna get people to buy, and sometimes those videos, they don't even have a link in them, but somebody just out of pure curiosity ends up clicking on the profile, and then they go to that person's page, and then they go to the website because they really want that product. Yeah. But you can always create layers, and this is all part of the testing process too. Like you could run an ad that's just directly to purchase, and you will get people purchasing. But you could also try doing something different, which is getting people to engage first, and then you're retargeting those individuals to purchase, and then you can look at the data and then say like, oh, okay, like people are still buying and it's costing us less money to do it this way. And that's why it's like you just have to be constantly testing and see what's working and what's not. Because otherwise, like you just don't know. Like you could literally be like an inch away from gold, but if you don't test enough, then you won't know if you were actually that close. And then if you are, great, then you find something that's working. And then you just scale that and continue to invest more, knowing that you're going to continue to get a greater return from it.
That's and see, people, this is why you need Greg to do your marketing for you, because you like totally lost me at retargeting. Because when people speak about retargeting, I'm like, oh, I don't even know how to plug in, because I know it's about Facebook pixels, and once they go to the website, you then like I don't even know. I almost said like a bad word, but I don't even know. Like I don't know. You know what? That's why everyone is a specialist in their field. Like you're a specialist in the digital marketing area, on how to get people to your website, drive traffic and leads. And then you get other people that's amazing in design or videography. And I think this is what overwhelms people so much, is that they feel they need to be experts in everything. They need to be.
No, that's true. And I think that's what cripples a lot of entrepreneurs, because it's almost the entrepreneur curse. Because when you're first starting out, like, you don't have a ton of money to be able to pay somebody else. And a lot of times what happens is like somebody will pay somebody to do something, and then like they don't get the result that they're looking for. So then all of a sudden they're like, well, great, like I just gave this person a bunch of money and like I didn't get what I needed to. So then they revert back to, well, I'll just do it myself then. But then the problem with doing it yourself isn't that you're trying to do something that you might not necessarily be good at. Like some people are good at doing like marketing. Other people are not good at doing marketing. So rather than trying to be something that you're not, the best thing you can do is just build your team around you that can help you in these specific areas. And especially being a specialist, right? It's like when you're a specialist, you know, like a specific area. Like we don't do anything like Google ad related. We only focus on Facebook ads, but it makes us a specialist at it because we know what we're doing. And so because of that, we can get you results based on like we've done this many, many times. And I have people ask me all the time, like, oh, do you do SEO? Do you do Google AdWords? And I'm like, no, I don't. But I have people that they're specialists at that. So if we need to bring them on to make this project like completed, great, we can talk to them, but just keep in mind that they're a specialist, so they're also going to charge you their rate of whatever it is that's going to cost in order to get the job done.
Yeah, because that was one of my questions, and I'll just jump to it. Do you think that Facebook ads is taking over Google AdWords?
No. So the best way to look at it is like Google is intent-based, Facebook is interest-based. So what I mean by that is when somebody goes to Google, they're in the mindset of like, I'm looking to solve my problem right now, whether that's like, I need to buy something, I need a plumber, I need this, or I need something. So they're going on to Google. Yeah. Yeah. It's like you Google like your problem. So it's like, hey, and then of course, Google has tons of information on that because most of the time you start typing out something and before you're even 3 words into it, it's like what you're looking for. So you're like, oh, great. So when you're on Google, that's where like, and Google, when you look at like the way that ads are set up on Google, there's not like an image ad on Google. Like everything is text-based, and then you also have like YouTube on there. But when you search for something on there, it's totally different experience. Facebook though is interest-based because, like I said earlier, people don't go onto Facebook with their credit card in hand, like looking to buy something on Facebook. But when they're on there, you're planting seeds where like they might at some point in time, they do want to take advantage of it. That's not to say like you can't get people that are ready to buy then on Facebook, but if you're basing it off of interest, because here's the crazy thing. So there's over 2 billion people that are signed up for Facebook, and people are on that every single day. Yeah. The crazy part is that every single person's Facebook feed is different. So it's like a fingerprint. So if we put your Facebook feed up next to mine, the way yours looks is going to be entirely different than the way mine looks. Like mine's filled with like marketing stuff and sales and like all these things because that's what I interact with the most. Like I'm getting targeted all the time by other marketers, which I don't mind because then I opt into their funnels and then I reverse engineer things. For you, it could be things that are related to whatever you like or anybody else. So it's like it's building out what you're interested on like right as you're scrolling. So it's like, that's why it's so important to be able to put things in front of people based on like their interest, because the likelihood of them taking advantage of it is entirely different on Facebook than when somebody's going on to Google and looking for something. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically interest is, because I know with Facebook ads, you get to select your demographic, and then interest, and you have to put in, they must be interested in like, if you're selling cars, it must be like cars or this car magazine or Top Gear. I know Top Gear.
Yeah.
So you need to be very, is that correct? Like, so whenever you are targeting, like let's say for instance, it's a makeup product. Like for instance, interest should be like beauty or Sephora or the Kardashians or E-News. That's all related. Am I right?
Yeah, so there's different ways of going about it. So like within Facebook, there was 3 ways to do targeting, but they're removing one of them starting this month, and then they'll get rid of everything by September. So it used to be interest-based and then like ad information, and then there was a third part which was called partner categories, which was like an aggregation of like different data points. So on Facebook, there was these behaviors or demographics that you could target. So one would be like fit moms or trendy moms. And the funny thing is like there's all these ones for moms, but there's really nothing for dads. So, and that's because we know women are the ones that are purchasing a lot more than men are. So they had all these different data points on like fit mom and trendy mom, but due to this data breach that happened a couple months ago with Cambridge Analytica, they ended up getting rid of this stuff. So they've been phasing things out. So now you have like certain interest groups that are going away. And with that, your interests that you want to be targeting aren't always the big ones that like, kind of like what you said, which was Sephora, Kim Kardashian, things like that. And the reason being is that if you're bidding on those interest groups, there's other people that are also bidding on those interest groups. And depending on how much they're spending on a daily basis, they might get the placement over you, because when you're scrolling through Facebook, they're only placing ads at so many different points in time, like where you're scrolling at. Like if every single person was able to get their ad on your feed would just be entirely filled with ads, which would ruin the user experience. Yeah. But if you're targeting like the high traffic interest groups like Kim Kardashian and Sephora and MAC and I don't know, what's like another
Kylie Jenner's makeup line.
Yeah, Kylie Jenner. So it's like, if you're going after those, that means that like there's a lot of traffic based on those interest groups. So sometimes what you want to do is find like sub-interests that are related to those bigger interest groups. So like if say it's like Kim Kardashian, you could find like some sub-brands that are related to Kim, but not necessarily Kim Kardashian herself. So you're still going to get your target demo, but it's going to cost you less money, because what happens when you're placing ads is that you're bidding for that placement. So it's every second there's millions of auctions taking place on Facebook to get that placement. And so that depends on like how much you're going to end up spending. So if like you're running an ad and like your cost to acquire somebody is high, it might be based on your interest, but it could also be like the copy that you're using, which is the text above the image. There's so many different factors that could go into it, but there's definitely ways of like lowering the cost and also seeing like which interests are actually getting the most reach.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And do you think it's best to over-define your target? Meaning, let's say, for instance, we're selling a makeup product. I'm going for females. I'm going for 16 to 24. I'm going for, she has to like Kim Kardashian. She has to like Kylie Jenner. She has to stay in California. She has to like Sephora.
Yeah.
Or do you think it's best to just like choose one and go with it?
So it depends on, so when you're online, you definitely need to refine your audience pretty substantially, because if you just don't target anybody online, like, and I'm talking like worldwide, there's like 238 million targetable interests of people that are on there. But if it's local, sometimes less targeting is better. So
yeah, like
the one campaign that you were referencing that we ended up getting on this podcast, that was a local campaign. And that one I didn't really do any targeting for, because I just wanted to get people in the local area to see it. Yeah. But if I was to try and do that same thing online, there'd be too many people to target. So you would have to define your audience a little bit further. And so those are things that you want to keep in mind too. So like if people are listening to this, if like they have like a local brick and mortar store, sometimes less is more. Versus if you're online, you do want to refine your targeting. And a great way of doing that is if you already have like an existing list of people that have already bought from you. So like if you have an email list, or if you have a list of people that have already purchased your product or service, use that to your advantage and have Facebook do the heavy lifting. So you can take an email list, you can take a purchase list, and you can upload that directly into Facebook. And then you can have Facebook analyze that data and then create different audiences off of it. So you could market directly to the people that have already bought from you, or you could also create what's called a lookalike audience. So that's where you give this list to Facebook. Facebook goes and analyzes all the data of the people that have bought from you or your email list. And then they create a new list, which is called a lookalike audience, where it's similar to your core group of people that you just bought, but you're excluding those people now. So now you have a whole new list of people that are similar to the people that are your best buyers. And now you're telling Facebook, okay, cool, go find people like this. And then you're optimizing your ads based on lookalike. So rather than trying to do like a bunch of interest targeting and you're not knowing which interests are working, just have Facebook do the heavy lifting of like, okay, this is like who we want. We want more people that are similar to this. Let's go find them. And you use a lookalike audience instead.
Wow. See, yeah. I'm ready to hire you to like, hey, I need you to do my social media marketing.
There's so much stuff.
Yeah, I know. And do you find that each country is different, like the way they click and the way they take up content? Like if you had to compare Australia to the US, to Europe, to South Africa or New Zealand, do you find it's different, or does the same secret sauce work for everything?
No, you definitely want to take into consideration some different things that could, Like if I was to compare like, the typical American compared to like the typical New Zealand, they're going to be totally different. So that would also be like, don't disrespect the buyer by selling to them in the same way that you think they should be sold to. Really knowing like your buyer avatar and who it is that you're marketing to will play a big role in this. And if you are marketing to different countries, you can segment your ads to where like you're only targeting the United States, you can target New Zealand. And usually if you're doing like a global campaign, sometimes you can focus on like the 5 major countries. So you can do United States, Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, and New Zealand. So those 5 usually, like if you're going to do like worldwide, are a great place to start. Because if you start going into like Middle East territory or China, especially in the Middle East, like your cost to acquire people is less, but they might not be like your ideal demo. So like if you just leave it at worldwide, your costs can be like severely like they can be a lot lower, but that doesn't necessarily mean like that's the ideal thing. So starting with like the 5 major countries, that can help. But then you also want to look at the data. So it's like, okay, we're targeting all 5 countries. Which one are we getting the most engagement from? But are we getting more engagement and not as many sales? Because then you can start to really like fine tune your audience and say like, okay, like New Zealand is, more engaged with our content, but they're not buying. I wonder why they're not buying. Is it because of the way that we're selling to them doesn't resonate with how they would typically look at something, versus like United States, they might not like the content, but they're buying left and right.
Oh my! This is so crazy. And so you literally sit and look at your ad performances and tweak the whole time until you get it right.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the same thing you want to do with like landing pages too, or same thing with your website. Like there's always like I also have like a guy that's helping me with some stuff that I'm about to launch like my own course. And we were talking about how like just one minor change could be the difference. So he was saying like how he was running a campaign and like sending people to the landing page. And so he's split testing the landing page. And the only thing that he changed on one landing page was one word, and it increased the conversion by 1%. Now, if you keep repeating that and it's like, okay, so we changed the word here, increased it 1%. And then he's like, well, then I wouldn't change the color of the button from red to green. And then our conversion went up 2%. Okay, what can we do here? And it's like, so you keep doing changes. So now all of a sudden you have this website or landing page where you went from your conversion was like, you send 100 people there and 30 people are converting. Now all of a sudden you've made 1 change, 2 change, 3 change. And after you've made enough changes, now all of a sudden your website's converting at like 50%. Well, that's much better than 30%. And if you can continue to optimize, great. But there's also like a certain point where like, you can't ever get like 100% conversion. So there might be like that critical mass where all of a sudden it's like, that's the best that it's going to get. You can still keep trying to increase the conversion, but there are some times like a limit of like, no matter how much we keep optimizing, you might actually start hurting your conversion by like changing too much. And then it starts to lower your results.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think that image ads versus video ads, what works best?
So both of them work, but the best part about video is that you get an additional type of targeting. So within Facebook's Business Manager, under the audience section, there's different types of audiences that you can create. So they're called custom audiences. So you have a custom audience, a saved audience, and then the lookalike audience. So a saved audience would be like you created like an interest group and you saved that. And then lookalike is where you're uploading data and then creating the people after that. But custom audiences is where you're essentially putting people in different buckets. So one thing I love to do is you're running video ads, but you're retargeting people that watch that ad a certain percentage. So within Facebook, there is you have the ability to retarget people based on the duration of how long they watch a video. So you can do it from 3 seconds, 10 seconds, 25%, 50%, 75%, and 95%. So think of it this way, like let's say you run like a video ad where it's like talking about like an interview that you did, and this video is only like a minute long. Now, would you rather retarget people that watched your video 50% or more, or would you rather get people to keep seeing your ads that are only watching 3 seconds?
No, I will retarget them again.
Yeah, so you'd want the people that are watching more of it, right?
Exactly.
Because that shows that they're interested.
Exactly.
Yeah, so like a lot of the times people watch videos only for a couple seconds. So on Facebook, the average view time of a video is only 6 seconds. And people are scrolling through their Facebook feed and they're going from post to post every 1.7 seconds. So that means like as somebody is scrolling through their Facebook feed, they are only spending about 1.7 seconds on your post before they're deciding if they're going to go to the next one. So if you don't catch their interest within those first few seconds, they're not going to continue to watch. So if somebody watches like a 1-minute video, that's 30 seconds. 30 seconds on Facebook is a long time because they actually spent a good amount of time. So I would rather have somebody that watched that video 30 seconds and retarget them and show them another piece of content because it's going to cost me less money and they're more interested. So now I can keep funneling through different videos, and then you can ultimately lead them to the sale because now you've taken them from they had no clue who you were, now they like you, now they know you, and now they trust you and they're ready to buy.
That's insane. That is so crazy. That is like, I'm speechless. It's like Facebook ads has changed so much. Do you think that because Facebook has such a big dimension of the ads that it confuses people and make people even more scared to use it?
Yeah, so I mean, they're constantly improving the platform, and Facebook's goal is to keep you on Facebook as long as possible. Like they don't want you leaving Facebook because the more time you spend on there, the more money they make. Although Mark Zuckerberg did lose like, I think it was like $15 billion the other week when their stock like dropped like 20% in one day. But you know, he lost a lot of money, but you know, he's still worth like multi-billion dollars. But they want to keep you on there as long as possible. And because of that, it's like, you know, they're continually optimizing the platform to get, you know, the best thing for advertisers. And like sometimes advertisers are freaking out. They're like, oh, well, you know, it's costing us more money. Well, yeah, it's because more people are on the platform. Like more people are joining Facebook every day, especially as more countries start to get internet. It's like, you know, from that, like, you know, they're worth billions and billions of dollars. And social media has changed marketing completely. Like traditional marketing to me is like so ineffective. However, there are some opportunities. Like if you do direct mail right, there are still some opportunities with that. And especially nowadays, like there was a period of time where people were overwhelmed with like how much stuff was coming in their mail. Now people are like, I'd rather get a piece of mail than I'd rather get like thousands of emails. So if it's done right, like I gave, actually this is a good tip for anybody. And this is a great way of merging traditional and online. So I was talking to one of my clients the other day, and we were doing a sales call, and I was like, all right, well, let's see what we could do to like improve our sales to get more people coming back in. And so, you know, one of it's calling the leads within like a 5 to 15 minute window because you're 85% more likely to get them to convert. But we were also talking about like, okay, well, what about your current customers? Like, what are you guys doing to get your current customers to come back in? And this particular client, like they have a special where it's like whenever it's your birthday, like you get something at like 50% off. And I asked them, I was like, how often do you guys reach out to these people when it's their birthday coming up for their month? They're like, we never do. And I'm like, have you ever thought about sending a birthday card in the mail to these people saying like, hey, happy birthday. Here's your gift or your gift card or a discount or whatever it is that you normally apply for somebody's birthday for that month, and sending them that in the mail. You know how many people, when they get that, like, especially when it's birthday cards, it comes in the mail, they're like, oh, I got a birthday card and it's from like this local business. And then you open it, it's like a personalized note, like, hey, this is so-and-so, the owner of blah, 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 like, happy birthday. Wanted to give you like a special discount where like you can come in this entire month for your birthday and you can get this, this, and this. Can't wait to have you come in. Now you're merging online and traditional, but it's like it's highly personalized to them, and so they feel really special about it. And that's how you really build like a customer base of people that like, you know, want to continue to spend more money in your business. But you have to be different because so many businesses are out there just to make a profit, but they forget the reason why they're in business is because they're customers. So you have to really treat your customer with a lot of respect because they can go anywhere they want to. Like they don't have to stick with you. So how you treat your customer, even if you're charging them a lot of money, they'll stay with you a lot longer if how you treat them, you make them feel like a human.
Yeah. Yeah. And what would you say is the 5 things that any good Facebook ad should have that will make a good return on investment?
So 5 things.
Yeah, 5 crucial things that any great Facebook or Instagram ad should have.
Okay, so number 1 is copy. So that's how your text is written, because good copy with bad creative will still convert. So you have to make sure that your copy is on point. And there's actually a really good book that was recommended to me a while ago, and it's the best copywriting book out there, and it's called Cash Advertising. So it's cash advertising, so advertising, but cash advertising. And it's like the greatest book you could buy, especially like if you're a business, like you just need to get a better understanding of like how things are structured. It'll help you really kind of see things, especially when you bring in a specialist, because then you can kind of understand what they're trying to do, because there's certain triggers that you need to appeal to people, like scarcity and urgency, little things like that will increase your conversion. So copy is king, because it doesn't matter what platform you're on. It doesn't matter if you're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. If you have good copy, you're selling in words. Yeah. So that's number 1. Next would be like, you do want to have good creative. So like you need to have a creative. So that could be images or videos or like infographics, something that gets people's attention, because if you can't get people's attention, they're not going to continue to pay attention. So you have to be able to get them to stop scrolling and look at your ad and say like, this is something that's interesting to me. Like I want to pay attention. And that's where video is key, because like if they watch it like a certain percentage, but they don't buy right away, well, then you want to retarget those people. Next would be knowing that you need to invest into marketing. There's been so many clients and like even people I've just talked to that they do not have a marketing budget. And in business, the 2 things that you always need to be focused on is sales and marketing. They work in tandem. You need to be creating things that are driving people in your business, but then you also need to be selling. And a lot of people are uncomfortable with selling, and it's because they aren't skilled at it, which is okay. Find somebody that is skilled at selling, but you have to keep in mind that like if you aren't able to sell and you can't market your business, you won't be in business, because the number 1 thing that happens for every single person when they open their doors is they think it's going to be like, hey, I built it, they will come. That's not going to happen. You have to put marketing out there. You have to spend money to make money. So like you need to market your business, and you need to get out there, because every entrepreneur, when they start out, they're in obscurity. Nobody knows who they are. They don't know what you do. And if you don't get out there, people will not know who you are. Yeah.
How much would you say, just on that point, how much would you say should people spend on their marketing budgets? So let's say, for instance, a company is doing $1 million a year. What is the percentage that they should be spending on their marketing, Facebook ads, or etc.?
Yeah. So if you're doing like $1 million a year, you should be at least allocating around like 15% to your marketing budget. If you're a smaller business and you're not doing $1 million a year, maybe you're doing like a couple $100,000, it could be a little bit more proportional. My recommendation still for people that are, even if they're under the $1 million mark, is at least if you can start spending like a minimum of $1,000 a month, just at the bare minimum, that gives you at least a budget where you can spend about $20 to $25 a day. And that's more than enough to at least start to test things. And if you start to get results where it's like people are starting to buy stuff online, great. Reinvest that back in the ad spend and increase the amount of money that you're spending on a daily basis. Because I was at an event, I think it was like 4 weeks ago, and one of the guys that was a speaker, he spends around $50,000 to $100,000 a day. So
who was that? Was it Ty Lopez?
No, so I mean, Ty spends a lot of money on this. So this guy, his name is Tim Bird. It's B-U-R-D.
Oh yeah.
He is when it comes to Facebook ads, like he's a beast at it, and he actually has a method which is called the bully method. So he literally bullies the crap out of people that are spending money by spending more money. So he'll get the placement purely for the fact that like he's spending way more money. So Facebook's like, well, hey, like this guy's spending $50,000 a day. This person's only spending $300 a day. Well, we're going to take this guy and put him in front of more people because he's spending a lot more money. So you're essentially bullying your competition out of getting the placement, but you have to really know like how that works, because otherwise you could spend $50,000 in one day and see no results. So it's not something that's like recommended where like somebody's just starting running ads. Don't just start dumping money into ad spend thinking that the more that you spend, the more results you're going to get, because you're going to burn a lot of money really quickly.
So you say a comfortable ad spend $1,000 a month, that will be a good start for any person.
Yeah, depending on what it is that you're offering. So like some of the businesses that we work with, they're local, and so you don't need to spend tens of thousands of dollars a month. Yeah. But if it's online, say like you're selling like a coaching program, right? Like you're trying to get people to sign up, and say your coaching program is like $3,000 or $4,000 when they sign up. Well, you can spend more money knowing that if you get one sale, you're going to make $4,000. So if you spend $1,000 a day, but you get somebody to sign up for your coaching program, and now you make $4,000. Well, you can spend more money on a daily basis, and it's proportional based on like what you can get out of it, because otherwise it's like, you know, it's all about the cost to acquire a customer. So if it costs you $1,000 to acquire a customer, but you make $4,000, that's not bad. But if it's costing you $4,000 to make $4,000, that's still not bad, because it cost you as much to acquire the customer as you made off of it. And if you have your what's called a value ladder in place, where like that's like the entry point where you know, okay, if I spend $4,000, I get this person into my ecosystem. Now I have their name, email, they've already purchased one of my products. The likelihood of them, the lifetime value of them is much higher, because, and I went through this myself with one person where I just signed up for a mastermind for an entire year, where I bought one thing that was like only a couple $1,000s. Then I went to a workshop in person, so I spent more money. And then I signed up for a mastermind, which is their highest level of what they've done. So it probably only cost them really like $100 or $300 to acquire me as a customer. So maybe they broke even on the front end, but now they've made $5,000, $6,000, $10,000, $20,000 off of me on the back end. So $200 to make $20,000, that's not bad at all.
Yeah. And what would you say, what is defined as a good ROI?
So I mean, the goal is that like if you can put as much in as much as you're getting out, you're breaking even. So at least that is like where you can start out. So always look to see at least if you can break even first, and then you can continue to optimize. So if you put in $1 and you get back out $1, you're doing okay. But if you're putting in $2 and you're only getting out $1, that's not good. But when you're first starting out, like at least if you can break even, then you can continually try to optimize it. So then all of a sudden it's like, okay, we got $1 in, we got $1 out. Okay, now we put $1 in.
It's not like you're losing money.
Exactly. You're just getting back what you put in. So it's like you're just learning lessons. And so then after that, it's like, okay, now we put $1 in. Now we're getting $2 out. Now we're getting $3 out, $4. And so as you can continue to improve that, it will continue to scale. And that way it's like you're not losing anything initially, but you're at least getting like the traction of like building assets of like data that you can use. And then you can continue to go from there.
Yeah. And what would you say for any entrepreneur that's, you know, just starting out with their Facebook ads or Instagram ads? What is the best apps that or software you can use to run those ads? Or would you say I think it's Facebook Business Manager is the best.
Yeah. So number one thing is make sure that you're going through the Facebook Business Manager. There's a lot of people that are running ads just like on the front end where they're like boosting a post. And don't get me wrong, there's a time when boosting a post is not necessarily a bad thing. But if that's how you're running your ads, you're really missing out on like everything on the back end. So what you want to do is you need to go to business.facebook.com and actually create an account on there. And then you'll actually migrate everything over like that you potentially had set up on the personal profile side of things. You want to be able to do everything in the Business Manager, because that's where you can really like set the right objectives. You can set up your custom audiences. You can do a lot more on the back end there. So you want to make sure you're running your campaigns through there. Another recommendation I would have, and it's not necessarily software, would be every single person needs to have a Facebook business page. So you cannot run ads on your personal profile, but everybody should be creating their own business page for you. So like you should have a business page where it's Erna, and then anybody that's listening, you need to have a personal brand page. And the reason being is that right now when it comes to marketing, people are resonating with your personal brand more so than they are with your business brand. So whatever product you came out with, they're going to resonate with you as a person as opposed to your business. The cool part about this is that if you create anything, if people like you, they will buy your product, versus if you try to sell through your brand, then it's a whole different ball game because people aren't resonating with the brand. It's not like people are resonating with Coca-Cola, and some of the CEOs are trying to do this personal branding thing, but they're not really being successful at it. And people ask me all the time, they're like, well, how often are you posting on your agency's social media? And I'm like, I haven't posted on that in like over a year because I'm posting on Instagram on my personal brand page, and then I'm also posting on my personal my business page and things like that because I can run ads to that stuff, and people are resonating with me, so they see me as the person that like they can,
of course,
yeah,
and I mean, I speak about that a lot of times. It's your personal brand, but your business brand, and how important it is to have a good-looking personal Facebook page, a profile, Instagram, and people shouldn't be posting like party stuff and this. And that. It's a business card. It's literally a website. You should use your Facebook profile as your website. So, and then last question is, how can people get hold of you?
Yeah, so best way to get a hold of me is through my email. So that's Greg, Greg, at Captive Branding. That's CAPTIVE, and then branding, BRANDING.com. Another great way to reach out to me is through Instagram, and that's Greg.Nowacki, so Nowacki. I usually check my Instagram DMs quite frequently. So if there's anybody out there that's looking for some help or just like looking for some insights on, what they could do for their own marketing and like how to improve some stuff, more than happy to connect with you guys and see what I could do to help you.
Oh, awesome. No, I think literally every person that's listening to this will definitely get in touch with you, because I'm like ready. I'm like, okay, so just take my money. So yeah, Greg, thank you so very much for your time today and the value that you added this morning on this amazing call. I really appreciate it. I learned so much myself.
No, thank you so much. Like I love sharing this stuff, and I know sometimes it's like I can go super marketing specialist where it's like I start saying things and you're just like, what the heck did you just say? But like, that sounds amazing. And I'm like, oh yeah. Like I still learn things all the time where somebody tells me something and I'm like, I had no clue you could do that. Like, what the heck? And so all of a sudden it's like your mind gets blown. And I'm always happy to share this stuff. And like, I want to continue to help more people like learn more about this, because it really can transform your business. Like, it's little things that can make a big impact very quickly.
Yeah, no, totally. So, Greg, thank you so much for the call. Just stay online. I'm going to stop the recording now, but we'll just have a chat afterwards. All right.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Greg. Have a great
Thank
one.
you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Woman Entrepreneur Podcast, the #1 success platform for female entrepreneurs. Visit our website, womanentrepreneur.co, for your daily motivation and business growth expert advice. Until next time, play big, think big, and impress yourself.